Today, we're talking about how to approach communication with your teenager when they're going through depression, especially because you probably have a lot of concerns you want to be discussing, things you see them doing that you view as problematic, and that might even be contributing to their ongoing depression. Hey y'all, my name is Ashley Waknine. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a nationally recognized life coach for teenagers and young adults. I wanted to take a second to introduce myself and this channel. On this channel, I'm helping parents support a teenage daughter through depression and anxiety. I'm taking all of my years of experience in private practice and equipping you with the skills and knowledge you need to help your daughter make progress. If that seems of interest to you, you'll want to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so you're notified every time I post a new video. So your child is struggling, but good parenting in response to depression is not about fixing this or trying to make them happy or healthy. And I know that might seem like a very weird statement, so hear me out. You can't fix this. You can't make them better. That's an inside job that only they can do. So good parenting in response to depression is about guiding your teenager to figure out for themselves what makes them happy and healthy. Because their ability to learn how to take care of themselves and meet their own needs is something that's not just important for recovery. It's a skill they're going to need far into the future. So this is a mindset shift you have to make if you're going to have effective communication. Because for so long as you're under the illusion that it's your job to fix this, you're going to feel riddled with fear and misplaced responsibility that leads you down a path of just trying to gain their compliance. And you're even going to think to yourself, if they just listened to me, they wouldn't have all these problems. And you know what? You're probably right. But the truth is that that sort of justification is going to lead you to an authoritarian approach that prioritizes threats, punishments, consequences, trying to teach them a lesson, trying to gain compliance. And if you step back and you look at this, you can't really control a teenager. You can't force them to go to class if they don't want to. You can't force them out of their bedroom and be social just because you've asked. And so when we look at this approach, it tends to have the opposite effect. It tends to increase defensiveness, resistance, shuts down communication, and even sometimes results in rebellion. And notice how even if you win a short-term battle of compliance, you lock yourself into a long-term war. And more than that, you miss the valuable opportunity to help your child take ownership of their depression and to discover for themselves the consequences of their decision making and to learn how to get themselves to a happier, healthier place. So the first priority of effective communication is to get on the same team as your kid, disarming their defenses so they actually allow you to form an alliance with them. And you want to form an alliance for a couple of reasons. First, the you versus them dynamic is going to prevent all of your very valid talking points from sinking in, no matter how important, and it's going to make it very hard to make progress. And second, a huge part of depression is the tendency to depress instead of express thoughts and feelings. A big part of your teen's habits and choices right now are means of distraction with this agenda in mind. So when you build an alliance, you actually turn the tides from depression to expression and create an environment of emotional and psychological safety where healing can start to occur. So how do you communicate effectively in order to build an alliance? Well, you have to talk to your teen like they're an adult. Teens don't respect being spoken to like a child. It's not where they're at developmentally. And you must come with the hypothesis that your child's choices make sense to them for good reason that you just don't fully understand. So pick a behavior that you find alarming and make your whole objective be about them feeling like you're wanting to understand this. Not that you agree with their choices, but that you do really want to understand it. And you want to avoid conversation starters that generally trigger defensiveness, stuff like, we need to have a conversation. This is really not good, right? Or I'm worried about you. we need to talk, or I feel dot 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 when you dot dot dot, right? Stuff like that. A conversation that really comes from a genuine place of wanting to understand is going to sound a lot more like, honey, I've been thinking about some things and I really want to talk with you about them. Is this an all right time? So I know that you've been missing a lot of school lately. And, um, school to me, it's a place that seems like it would be really fun. Like you get to see your friends, learn things, like there's some cool activities, you get to be out of the house. And it seems like it used to be that kind of place for you in the past, and something has really changed. And I know you've been missing a lot of school lately, but I don't think I fully understand why. Can you help me understand this more? When you lead the conversation in this way, you are admitting to your teenager that you don't fully understand what's going on and you need their help in wrapping your head around it. And if your relationship with them is currently strained, you may need to go further in disarming their defenses. You may need to actually reassure them of your agenda and say something like, this conversation is not going to end badly for you. I do truly just want to understand things better. And in the future, when we get to a problem solving conversation, my hope is that we can do that together. And you may need to acknowledge that in the past, you have approached this quite judgmentally, and that probably made them feel like you were being very controlling. And you don't really like when people are controlling of you. And so you're very sorry for that. But it came out of fear and concern and love. And you don't approve of these kinds of behaviors, but you do genuinely want to work on this together. So you need to be able to have these kinds of conversations about pressing issues without it ascending into fighting or consequences or lectures, and in a way that has your teen feel like they are being listened to and understood. And so you actually don't want to go to the point of problem solving at all until you've met the following criteria. One, you actually can truly say to yourself that you understand their choices, not that you condone them, but you understand where they're coming from with this. Two, your teen feels like you're understanding and that you're making a genuine effort. Third, you've had multiple of these kinds of listening focused conversations. And four, you've had multiple opportunities for quality time that have no agenda attached. You're not trying to get something from your teen. You're not trying to get them to do something. It's pure quality time. And when you've met these four criteria and you really feel there is an alliance forming, that's when you can start to turn to problem solving conversations. With the exception of safety concerns, obviously, like suicidality, which, of course, like you should be thinking about an emergency room or residential treatment, some way of keeping your child safe. But aside from that, until you have effective communication and a strong alliance, better to slow down and get that first rather than proceed with an agenda that frankly isn't working anyways, right? Like if you think about it, you're not actually losing anything by slowing down and taking this approach. These behaviors are already happening. You're already having these problems. So I want you to think about limits, structures, boundary setting, problem solving. All of this is like a separate conversation that hinges on effective communication and a strong alliance, without which it's really difficult for you to implement these things in any kind of meaningful way. And so, in this conversation, in any conversation, there are two roles to be played. There's the role of the talker and the role of the listener. And in this conversation, you should be firmly in the role of the listener. So, you're using skills like active listening and reflections, open ended questions, validation to open up your teen and get them talking. Hey parents, I hope you found today's video helpful. I want to take a second to just guide you towards a few additional resources. The first is a free private Facebook group for parents who are supporting a daughter through depression and anxiety. This is a Facebook group that I run, and it's a place where you'll find a sense of community among other parents who are walking in similar shoes. The second is a free masterclass that I recently did, which will walk you through the process of how to best support your daughter. And the third is my Path to Peace Parenting Coaching Program, which is a parent coaching program and a community of parents that work with me directly, and I'm helping them optimize their parental approach, become the best support and guide for helping their daughter through depression and anxiety. So if that is of interest to you, you can find the link to the application in the description, and you can find the links to each of these in the description as well.